I caught my wife cheating 2 weeks ago. She doesn't know I know. And she's still lying to my face every single day. We've been married 8 years. No kids. A house in the suburbs. A dog named Murphy who still wags his tail like everything's fine. And Emily? Emily plays her role like nothing's changed. She still kisses me on the cheek in the morning. Still asks if I want coffee. Still calls me babe in that sing-song voice she uses when she wants me to think everything's fine. But I know. I know what she does when she says she's working late. I know whose number is saved as Carla's spin class. I know what hotel they used last Thursday. I've got the receipt. And the sickest part? Sometimes, when she walks in the door and flashes that tired smile, I almost believe her. For a second. Just one. Before everything crashes again. 2 weeks ago, it was just a regular Tuesday. I was leaving work early for once. Thought I'd surprise her. I even bought flowers, yellow tulips, her favorite. Back then, I still believed small gestures could fix big problems. Back then, I didn't know. She wasn't home when I got there. I didn't think much of it. Her car wasn't in the driveway, but that happens sometimes, meetings, errands, gym, whatever. But her iPad was on the kitchen table. She usually keeps it with her. Like the phone, the laptop, everything's locked down, password, guarded. But that day, it was just sitting there. Screen still lit. Messages open. I wasn't going to look. I really wasn't. But one message caught my eye. Just 3 lines. But it shifted something in my chest. Missed you this morning. Still taste you on my lips. God, I wish I didn't have to leave your bed. Same time Thursday? It was from Brandon W. My first reaction? Numb. Then heat. Then cold. Then disbelief. Then the realization, this wasn't the first time. This was routine. I didn't confront her that night. I needed more. I took photos. Forwarded the messages to myself. And then I closed the iPad. Put the flowers in a vase like an idiot. And waited for her to come home. She walked in at 7:42 p.m. Sweaty gym clothes. Hair in a messy bun. Keys jingling like always. She kissed me lightly on the cheek and said, "Spin class was brutal. Carla nearly killed me." Carla. The fake one. I looked her in the eyes. Long session. She smiled. Double class. Needed to burn off the tacos. I wanted to scream. Instead, I nodded. Good for you. She went upstairs to shower. I stayed in the kitchen, staring at the flowers like they'd betrayed me too. The next few days were a blur. I didn't sleep much. I watched her not like a husband, but like a detective. I noticed things I hadn't before. How she always put her phone face down. How she started leaving for early morning yoga. How she wore perfume to Target. I started checking our shared accounts. Found Lyft receipts. One of them, a drop-off at the Woodbridge Inn. Same day, same time as the texts. She told me she was at a client meeting. Sent a fake selfie from a cafe. I'd even replied, "Proud of you. Hope they like the pitch." Turns out, she was in bed with Brandon. By Friday, I had enough. But I still didn't say anything. Not because I was scared. Because I wanted to see how far she'd go. Saturday morning, she stood in front of the mirror, humming to herself, curling her hair. Going somewhere? I asked. She turned, smiling. Oh, just brunch with Rachel. Rachel. Another name that's been repurposed lately. I nodded. Tell her I said hi. She leaned in, kissed me quickly, and left. Her phone buzzed as the door clicked shut. I picked it up. Still unlocked. Parking now. I can't wait to kiss you. I scrolled up. There were weeks of this. Photos. Messages. Audio notes. Can't stop thinking about last night. He doesn't suspect a thing. Soon, baby. Soon. I sat down on the couch. Phone still in my hands. My pulse pounding in my ears. He doesn't suspect a thing. Emily. My wife. The woman I shared everything with. She was laughing behind my back. I've started planning. I'm not rushing. I'm not yelling. I'm not confronting her. I'm collecting. Screenshots. Dates. Locations. I've spoken to a lawyer. Quietly. The house is in both our names. But she's been maneuvering little updates to the mortgage, refinancing talks I didn't fully pay attention to at the time. Now I do. She's not just cheating. She's setting the stage to take everything and walk away looking like the victim. But not this time. She doesn't know I know. But I do. And I'm not going to blink first. You ever notice how the lies always start small? Just enough to make you doubt yourself, before they swallow your whole life. I used to miss things. Little things. The way she closed her laptop faster than usual. The fact she always took the trash out herself, but only on Thursdays. Her sudden love for lavender perfume, when she used to gag at it in stores. I thought they were quirks. I thought I was imagining it. But now, I see the pattern. Emily's entire world is designed to look innocent, normal, polished, and I'd spent years believing in that surface. Now, I look for the cracks. Last Tuesday, she left her laptop open when she stepped outside to take a call. I wasn't snooping. Not really. But I saw a file on her desktop titled FinPlan_May 23, nothing strange. Until I clicked it. It asked for a password. No preview. No metadata. Just a locked gate. Emily doesn't use passwords for anything work-related. Never has. I closed it quickly before she came back in, but the name stuck in my head like a splinter. Financial plan. May 2023. I started doing the math. That was the same month she first said she wanted to handle the refinancing paperwork on the house. Said I was always too stressed to deal with it. That was when she got her own email with the mortgage company. That was when she started using phrases like joint equity and better tax shielding, words she never used before. At the time, I was grateful. She seemed engaged, helpful. I let her take the lead. And maybe that's when I lost the house. This week, I watched everything. I tracked her Lyft rides. All of them. She doesn't know that our shared credit card logs location data through the provider's app. It's buried in the settings. On Wednesday, she told me she was meeting her coworker Rachel at a sushi place near the office. Said she might be home late. The app said she was dropped off at 4:48 p.m. at 117 Monroe Street. That's not near her office. It's a residential building. A condo complex. I zoomed in. Cross-referenced Google Maps. Then I checked her Lyft history. She'd been there 5 times in the last 2 weeks. That wasn't Rachel's place. That wasn't sushi. The next morning, I said nothing. Poured her coffee, kissed her cheek, told her to have a good day. She smiled. Like nothing was wrong. But I noticed something new. She left her wedding ring on the nightstand. Again. Second time this week. She said it felt tight lately. Funny. It always fit fine until now. I made a copy of everything. Screenshots. Location logs. A voice memo of her phone buzzing with messages from Brandon while she was in the shower. I backed it all up to a hidden folder. One she'll never find. It felt surreal. Like building a case against a stranger who happens to wear my wife's skin. But there was more. Something deeper. Saturday afternoon, while she was out shopping, I checked the file again FinPlan_May 23. This time, I didn't click it. I right-clicked. Open file info. And what I saw nearly made me drop the mouse. It wasn't created in May. It was created in February. 3 months earlier than she said she started thinking about the house. Before the affair. Before the lies. Before everything unraveled. Except maybe not. Maybe that was the beginning. There was another file too. Titled, Separation_Agreement_Draft. Created 2 weeks ago. She was planning to leave. No, she is planning to leave. But not before she locks everything in her favor. Not before she rewrites history. Makes herself the victim. The abandoned wife. The one who tried. I don't know how far she's willing to go. But I'm done watching. I'm done waiting. She thinks she has time. She thinks I'm still in the dark. She thinks she's in control. She has no idea I'm already steps ahead. I thought Brandon was just some random guy. A fling. A mistake. But I was wrong. I'd met him before. In our home. It started with a photo. Buried in Emily's Instagram archive, one of those forgotten vacation pictures from 3 years ago. A 4th of July barbecue. Our backyard. Plastic cups. Charred hot dogs. A dozen people. And Brandon. Standing 3 feet behind Emily, holding a beer and laughing at something off camera. I zoomed in. Same jawline. Same smug smile. Same watch. I remember that day now. Vaguely. Emily told me he was a friend of a coworker. Just stopping by. Works in marketing, she said. Funny guy. We made small talk. He complimented the grill. Asked about our dog. He looked at my wife like she was sunlight. I didn't notice it then. Now, I see it everywhere. I dug deeper. Brandon Wexler. Age 36. Divorced. Lives in Eastwood. Works at a boutique marketing firm with a specialty in image rehabilitation, whatever the hell that means. His clients? Real estate brokers, fitness influencers, and therapists. Perfect, I thought. He knows how to sound trustworthy. I scrolled through his online presence. Instagram was curated, predictable. Whiskey, motorcycles, gym selfies, moody captions about realness. LinkedIn was polished, corporate, jargon-heavy job titles, fake enthusiasm. But the real gold? Facebook. That's where I found the past. Photos from college, him with a girl who looked exactly like Emily, just younger, blonder, freer. Same dimples. Same eyes. I stared at the caption. Back in the day. Summer before it all changed. Comments filled with old friends tagging Emily Cooper. Emily Cooper. Her maiden name. They weren't strangers. They were exes. She lied about everything. She said Brandon was someone she met recently. A new acquaintance. A flirtation that got out of hand. But they had history. Real history. They dated for 2 years in college. He broke her heart. Cheated. Moved away. And now? He was back. And apparently she was giving him another shot. In secret. While lying to my face every morning. The next day, I asked her casually. Do you remember that guy from the barbecue a few years ago? The one with the leather bracelet and loud laugh. She hesitated. A flicker in her eyes. Not really. Why? Just ran into someone who looked like him. She smiled. Huh. Weird. Must have been someone from Jenna's office. I don't think I ever talked to him. She looked straight at me when she said it. No blink. No twitch. Just clean, practiced dishonesty. That's when I knew. Not suspected, knew. She wasn't just cheating. She was rewriting our history. That night I opened her laptop again. She left it unlocked. The FinPlan_May 23 file was still there. Still locked. But I found a new one. Photos_trip. It looked innocent. A folder of JPEGs. Vacation pictures. Only. They weren't ours. They were from the cabin. The one we rented for our anniversary last year. The weekend she got food poisoning and insisted I go alone, saying she needed to rest. Inside the folder. Emily on the deck. In my sweatshirt. Emily in bed, tangled in sheets I recognized. Emily kissing Brandon. Timestamped. Labeled. Organized. She didn't even hide them well. It wasn't a mistake. It was their secret album. I sat there staring at the screen for maybe an hour. I don't even remember breathing. And then I saw something else. A subfolder. For later. It had documents. PDFs. One was labeled Statement Draft. Daniel Aggressive Behavior. Another. Evidence. Control/neglect. All written in third person. As if for a court. As if for a divorce. As if she was already building her case. And painting me as the villain. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. And I was losing it without even knowing. She came home 2 hours later. Smiling. Hey babe, she said, tossing her keys. How was your day? I looked up from my book. Uneventful. You. She shrugged. Just work. You know. She kissed me. And for the first time, I didn't flinch. Because now, I wasn't confused. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't even angry. I was calculating. I emailed everything to a secure backup. Then I reached out to someone I hadn't spoken to in a long time. Her name's Ava. She used to be Emily's best friend. They had a falling out 2 years ago, something about boundaries, according to Emily. But Ava always seemed real to me. And if anyone knew what Emily was truly capable of, it would be her. I sent a short message. Ava, I think I finally understand what you meant back then. Can we talk? She replied in 5 minutes. Call me. I have so much to tell you. I should have said something earlier. I haven't called her yet. Not because I'm hesitant, but because I'm scared of what else I'll find out. Because if Emily lied about Brandon, if she lied about the cabin, the house, her past, what else is hiding under the surface? I used to think I knew my wife. Now, I'm starting to think she never existed. She was folding laundry when I walked in. Our bedroom looked the same as always, neat, quiet, warm sunlight across the carpet, but something felt different. She didn't look up. You've been home early a lot lately, she said, still focused on a white t-shirt in her hands. Yeah, I answered, pulling off my shoes. Trying to be more present. She smiled at the shirt, like it told her a private joke. That's good. She didn't ask why. She didn't ask how my day was. That used to be automatic. We lived together like people waiting for a bomb to go off, one eye on the routine, one ear on the ticking. That night, she asked if I wanted wine. She lit a candle at dinner. Made steak, medium rare, just the way I like it. Played our playlist on her phone. Smiled like it was 2018. She was trying. Not to fix things. To calm me. To reset the atmosphere. I played along. We talked about the weather. About her coworker's dog. About how Murphy's getting slower on the stairs. And not once did either of us say what we were thinking. You're cheating on me. You know I know. We're pretending to be okay for one more night. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen and saw her phone face down on the table. Unlocked. No passcode. Open screen. Messages. It wasn't a mistake. It was bait. I knew her too well. She wanted me to see it, to go through it, so she could catch me. Turn the tables. Say I was invading her privacy. That I was the bad guy now. So I didn't touch it. I just made coffee and said good morning. She tilted her head. You're quiet. I shrugged. You're tense, she added. You've been off. I looked her dead in the eyes. You think? Her smile twitched. Almost. Then she turned back to the sink. At night, she touched me again. In bed. Slowly. Deliberately. Hand on my chest. Lips near my ear. She hadn't done that in months. I froze. Not because I was tempted, but because I realized something chilling. She still believed she could control the narrative. She thought a little intimacy would reset the game board. I kissed her back. Just enough to keep her guessing. And then turned away. The next day, I met with Ava. We sat in her car, parked outside a shopping plaza. I hadn't seen her in 2 years. She looked older. Sadder. Thanks for meeting me, I said. She nodded. I figured you'd come eventually. I didn't ask what she meant. I just waited. She reached into her purse and pulled out an old phone. This is Emily's. From before she changed numbers. She left it at my place years ago, back when we were still friends. She handed it to me. There are messages. Emails. Stuff from Brandon. Stuff from others, too. Others. Ava looked at me. Her eyes were tired. You're not the first one she's cheated on. And I don't think Brandon is the only one now. I swallowed hard. You knew. She nodded, slow and heavy. I tried to tell her she was losing herself. She didn't want to hear it. Said I was jealous. Controlling. A pause. She says that a lot when people get too close. That night, I didn't sleep. I scrolled through the old messages on Emily's abandoned phone. There were names I didn't recognize. There were patterns. There were confessions. And there were rules. She kept rules for lying. Always delete photos from trash. Give every contact a fake name. If he gets suspicious, cry. Don't fight. I stared at that note like it was written in fire. I left the house early the next morning. Went to a park. Just walked. For hours. Everything I thought I knew was burning down. Every conversation we'd had felt rewritten. Every smile, every hug, every I love you. False. Staged. Strategic. I wasn't even sad anymore. I was cold. Sharp. Ready. That night, she sat on the couch and asked, Are we okay? I turned the TV off. Met her eyes. We're fine, I said. And in that moment, I knew she believed it. Because the mask she wore, the one she'd practiced for years, was starting to fuse to her face. She couldn't tell what was real anymore. It happened on a Tuesday. Gray sky. Cold coffee. Quiet house. She sat at the edge of the bed, twisting her wedding ring in slow, practiced circles. I want to talk, she said. Not, we need to talk. Not, can we talk? Just, I want to. Like it was a performance she'd rehearsed. I sat across from her. Not close. Not distant. Just enough space for the silence to stretch. She looked up. I know you've been off. Distant. Watching me. She bit her lip. Eyes moist. Like she was trying to convince herself to cry. And I think I know why. I didn't speak. She took that as a cue to continue. I haven't been honest with you. About a lot of things. Still no response from me. That rattled her. She was used to me asking, reacting, playing the husband. But now? I was stoned. She folded her hands. I reconnected with someone from college a while back. His name's Brandon. You might remember him. He came to that barbecue once. I blinked. Once. Just once. She took it as surprise. It wasn't supposed to mean anything, she said. We just ran into each other, and it brought back memories. I felt seen again. Wanted. Her voice cracked. I didn't sleep with him at first. It wasn't physical, not right away. It was emotional. I know that doesn't make it better, but... She looked at me now, searching for something. A tear, a reaction, a break. There was none. I felt alone, Mark, she continued. You've been distant too. You work late. You barely talk anymore. I felt like we were just roommates. I finally spoke. You felt alone, so you opened a secret photo album with him? Booked hotel rooms? Lied to my face for months. She flinched. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. Silence. Then she nodded. I know. I know I did. And I'm sorry. She reached for my hand. I didn't move. Please. I want to fix this. We can fix this. I looked at her, really looked. This wasn't guilt. This was strategy. She wasn't telling the truth, to be honest. She was trying to control the fallout. I asked, "Is he the only one?" Her eyes flickered. One beat too long. "Yes." Liar. She froze. "Mark." "I've read the messages, Emily. I've seen the photos. I've seen the drafts. You're not coming clean. You're just choosing what to admit." And that was the moment the mask cracked. Her face changed. Not guilt. Annoyance. She leaned back. "So what now?" she asked. Cold. Tired. I didn't answer. "Are you going to leave?" she pressed. "Throw away everything we built?" I laughed. "Just once. We didn't build anything. I built it. You were busy burning the blueprint." She stood up fast. "I made a mistake." "No, Emily. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You made a life out of lies." She turned away, arms crossed. Silence. Then, I wasn't happy. Finally. "Honesty. That's fine," I said. "But instead of talking, you picked up your old flame and started writing my obituary." She turned to face me. "Do you want me to leave?" "I want the truth." She didn't answer. That night, she slept on the couch. Or pretended to. I stayed in the bedroom. Not angry. Not emotional. Just awake. I watched the ceiling fan spin. Listened to the house creak. Felt everything and nothing. In the morning, she made pancakes. Like that would fix anything. She set the plate down in front of me. I meant what I said. "I want to try." I stared at the food. Then at her. And said nothing. Because I knew she hadn't told me everything. Because I knew she wasn't done lying. Because in the corner of my mind, I could still hear Ava's voice. "I don't think Brandon is the only one." It was Brandon who reached out first. Not directly. Not intentionally. But he posted something on his story, public, stupid, too raw for someone so good at polishing his image. A blurry selfie in a bar. A caption. "She said he was cruel. Turns out he was just quiet." Ava sent it to me. She added one sentence. "I told you." I waited 2 days before messaging him. Simple. Calm. Calculated. "Brandon, I think we should talk. You don't know the full story. And I'm not here to fight." He replied 2 hours later. "Coffee?" "No drama." "No drama," I wrote back. "Just truth." We met in a quiet place. Neutral ground. No friends. No fists. No raised voices. He looked younger than I remembered. Or maybe just more tired. We shook hands. Strangers with the same bruise. "I didn't know she was still with you," he said after the second sip. I just looked at him. "She told me you two were separated. That you were volatile. Controlling. That you used money as a weapon. That you once threw her phone against a wall." I exhaled slowly. "She say anything else?" He nodded. "Said she was scared of you. Said you tracked her calls. Threatened her. She ever show you proof?" "No. But she cried when she said it." I smiled. A small, sad smile. "She's good at crying," I said. He lowered his eyes. "Look, I ended it last week. She didn't take it well." "You ended it?" He nodded. "She started getting weird. Possessive. Like she wanted me to pick her over everything. Like she needed someone to destroy." We talked for an hour. He told me things I hadn't known. How she complained about our sex life. How she said I never touched her anymore. How she told him I humiliated her in public. All lies. Every single one. But they weren't told to seduce. They were told to justify. To make her feel like the hero of her own movie. He pulled something up on his phone. A voice note. From 2 weeks ago. Her voice. Whispering. "He's emotionally abusive. He makes me feel worthless. I need a way out. But I need to do it right, legal, clean. He doesn't know yet. But I'll make it so he has no reason to fight." Brandon looked at me. I think she meant to send that to someone else. Not me. I left without shaking his hand. He wasn't my enemy. But he'd been part of it. Whether he knew or not. When I got home, Emily was on the phone in the kitchen. Laughing. Cooking. She looked up, smiled. "There you are. I was thinking we could go out this weekend. Just us." I nodded. "Sure. Because what else do you say to someone planning your destruction with a warm voice and olive oil?" Later that night, she brought wine into the bedroom. Sat on the edge of the bed. "I've been thinking. Maybe we should see someone. See someone. A therapist. A marriage counselor. Just to work through things." I looked at her like she was speaking another language. "You want therapy?" She nodded. "I think it could help." "Help with what?" She hesitated. Then looked down. "With rebuilding trust." I almost laughed. "Do I get to know how much of the story you'll bring to that table? Or are you hoping I just show up confused and crying while you talk about your trauma?" Her eyes narrowed. I'm trying, Mark. No, I said. You're adjusting. She stood up fast. I thought you wanted to fix this. I wanted the truth. Then stop twisting everything I say. She shouted. And that's when I saw it. Not grief. Not fear. But rage. The kind that comes from losing control. She left the room. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how she weaponized my silence. How she fed stories to another man to justify the knife in my back. And how many others might have heard the same script, in different voices, over different years. Emily didn't cheat because she was unhappy. She cheated because she needed to be the victim. And for that to work, someone had to be the villain. That someone was me. I met with a lawyer on Wednesday, not because I'd made some grand decision to file for divorce, but because I needed to know what would happen if she did first. Because she's planning something. That part isn't paranoia anymore. It's math. I brought every document I could find. The ones I signed months ago when she told me we were refinancing the house. Back then, I was just grateful she wanted to take over something. I trusted her. Of course I did. Now, I sat across from a man in a gray suit while he read my past like an autopsy. He turned a page, clicked his pen, and finally looked up. She drafted these to protect herself. Not you. I didn't say anything. He continued. If she files first, and these are in place, you're at risk of walking away with very little, especially if she positions herself as the emotionally neglected party. She's got the financial leverage now. I nodded slowly. But she hasn't filed yet? No. Good, he said, setting the pages down. Then we file first. I didn't feel relief. No rage. No satisfaction. Just clarity, the kind that settles in like cold water down your spine. I left the office with a folder and a deadline. Review everything. Sign by Friday. Be ready. Back home, Emily handed me tea like it was any other Thursday. She wore that soft cardigan she always used to wrap herself in during stormy evenings. She smiled, played calm. I watched her carefully. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't defensive. She was performing normal. Because in her mind, she was still running the show. Still holding the narrative. She asked about my day. Laughed when I said something about a coworker's broken printer. Lightly touched my arm when she passed behind me. I've come to recognize those touches. Not affection. Monitoring. Testing. Seeing if I'm slipping out of her grip. That night, I opened a new account. Moved money. Quietly. Legally. Protected. Then I closed our shared cloud storage. Changed passwords. Set up a P.O. box. Every move precise. Quiet. Nothing she'd notice in the short term. Just enough to secure air if the house started to fill with smoke. The next morning, I got an email from the mortgage company. Automatic update. Cosigner change request submitted. I froze. The request was dated a week ago. Not from me. From her. I called the lawyer. She's trying to remove you. Likely through a reassignment clause embedded in the refinancing documents, he said. If she succeeds, the property is fully hers. I asked if it was legal. He sighed. With consent? Yes. With a signature? Yes. Without context? Absolutely. Can we stop it? Yes. But we need to act now. That evening, we had dinner like nothing happened. She asked what I wanted to do that weekend. I said, maybe we stay in. Watch something. She smiled. That sounds nice. She meant it. Because she believed I was still asleep. Still in her dream of domestic comfort. But I was already gone. Not physically. Not yet. But mentally, emotionally. I packed up and left. I kept observing. She had started calling her mother more often. I overheard one conversation. He's not the same anymore. He's distant. Silence. I don't know. It's like he's pretending to be present, but something's off. Another pause. No, I haven't told him yet. I'm waiting for the right time. I didn't need to hear more. She wasn't planning to fight. She was planning to win. Friday morning, I signed the papers. Filed them. Officially. My lawyer said she'd be served next week. In the meantime, I kept acting the part. I kissed her cheek before leaving the house. I smiled when she showed me a funny meme. I said, I love you, when she walked past me with a glass of wine. And every word tasted like glass. I don't know what her face will look like when the envelope lands in her hands. I don't know how she'll spin it. What version of the truth she'll create. How many people she'll convince. But I know one thing. I gave her every chance to stop. To come clean. To speak. She chose silence. She chose manipulation. She chose war. And now? She gets it. She got the envelope on a Wednesday. No outburst. No accusations. She just made dinner. Chicken, lemon glaze, asparagus, her version of peace offerings. She poured me a glass of wine, told me about her day, smiled like nothing had changed. She didn't mention the legal envelope now tucked under a stack of magazines. I waited. She didn't ask why. She didn't ask how. She just said, "You've been quiet lately." 3 days later, people started texting me. Sarah was the first. "Hey, just wanted to say I'm thinking of you. Em told me you guys are going through some heavy stuff. I hope it's not true." I asked her what it was. She didn't reply. Darren messaged next. "Heard something weird today. Said you've been spiraling, hope you're okay." I didn't answer. Not because I was shocked, but because I already knew what was happening. By Monday, it had spread further. A post on Emily's Instagram. A blurry photo of a quiet park path. The caption read, "Some seasons are harder than others, especially when you're healing from someone who wasn't who you thought." Hundreds of likes. Comments full of hearts and strength emojis. And one message in my inbox from someone I barely knew. "If you need help, man, therapy's not weakness." I started noticing the change in people's eyes. Tighter smiles. Polite nods. Some stopped replying to messages altogether. I'd made my move in court. Emily made hers in public. I asked her one night, as she folded laundry at the end of the bed, "Are you telling people I hurt you?" She looked up. No flinch. "I'm telling people I'm trying to heal." That's not what they're hearing. I can't control how people interpret things. But you can control what you say. She looked back down at the laundry. I'm allowed to tell my truth. I said nothing. Because I realized truth wasn't her goal. Control was. That same week, I saw the way she played it in real time. A phone call in the kitchen. Her voice soft, shaky. "He's not himself lately. I'm honestly scared of how cold he's gotten." A pause. "I don't know if I even know him anymore." Another pause. "I just want to feel safe." She knew I was in the hallway. She wanted me to hear it. I got a call from HR the next day. A routine check-in prompted by an anonymous concern about my mental state. Apparently, someone was worried I'd become emotionally unstable. They didn't say who. They didn't need to. I called Ava. We met in a cafe across town. She didn't look surprised. "I warned you," she said, stirring her tea. "This is her pattern. The truth isn't what happened. It's what she can sell first. She's saying I'm dangerous." Ava nodded. "She said the same thing about the guy before you. Told people he stalked her. That he watched her sleep. Was it true? Not even close." I went home that night and found Emily humming in the kitchen. She asked how my day was. I told her it was fine. She poured 2 glasses of wine. Sat on the couch. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe we should post something. Just a simple message. Nothing messy. Just closure." "Closure for who?" She shrugged. "For us. For people asking." I looked at her. "You mean for people you already told your version to?" She didn't deny it. "I just think it's better to control the narrative before it controls us." Us. Like we were still on the same team. That night, I backed up every file. Every screenshot. Every message. I started logging times. Phone calls. Photos of documents she left open. She wasn't throwing punches, she was crafting doubt. And doubt is slow. It seeps. And eventually, it stains. At work, I felt it. People weren't avoiding me, not quite. But the warmth was gone. I'd been marked. Quietly. Softly. Not because they believed her, but because they heard her first. And that's all it takes sometimes. One evening, she asked, "Are you going to fight me?" I looked at her. "I'm just defending myself." "That's not the same thing." "No, it's not." She sighed. Like she was disappointed in me. Like I was letting her down. She posted another photo a few days later. Her on the porch. Wrapped in a blanket. Eyes distant. Healing looks different every day. I saw one of my old coworkers like it. The house felt quieter after that. She moved more softly. No more humming. No more random touches. No more trying. Only watching. Calculating. We both were. Because the truth had nothing to do with court papers anymore. Now, it lived in whispers. In captions. In looks from people we both used to know. The morning light filtered softly through the blinds, casting striped patterns on the bedroom wall. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the weight of the past weeks pressing heavily on my chest. Emily's side of the bed was empty, the sheets slightly rumpled, indicating she'd been up for some time. The distant clatter of dishes from the kitchen signaled her presence. Our interactions had become a series of rehearsed performances, each of us playing our parts with practiced precision. The once spontaneous laughter and shared glances had been replaced by guarded conversations and calculated moves. The house, which had been our sanctuary, now felt like a stage where a silent drama unfolded daily. I rose from the bed, the cool floorboards sending a shiver up my spine. As I made my way to the bathroom, I noticed a faint scent of Emily's perfume lingering in the air, a subtle reminder of her presence, even in her absence. The mirror reflected a face I barely recognized. The lines around my eyes seemed deeper, the spark that once defined me now dimmed. Descending the stairs, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee greeted me. Emily stood by the counter, her back to me, stirring her cup absent-mindedly. The morning sun illuminated her figure, highlighting the tension in her shoulders. "Good morning," I ventured, my voice breaking the fragile silence. She turned, a faint smile playing on her lips, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Morning. Coffee's fresh." I nodded, moving to pour myself a cup. The warmth of the mug was comforting, a small solace in the midst of the cold distance between us. We sat at the kitchen table, the space between us filled with unspoken words. The clinking of spoons against porcelain was the only sound, a rhythmic reminder of the chasm that had grown between us. Emily broke the silence, her voice hesitant. "Mark, I've been thinking. Maybe we should talk to someone. A counselor." I looked up, meeting her gaze. There was a vulnerability in her eyes, a glimmer of the woman I'd fallen in love with. "Do you think it would help?" I asked, genuinely curious. She sighed, wrapping her hands around her cup as if seeking warmth. "I don't know, but we can't keep going on like this." I nodded slowly, the weight of her words settling over me. "All right, let's give it a try." The decision felt like a small step toward bridging the gap, though the path ahead remained uncertain. Days turned into weeks as we attended counseling sessions, each one peeling back layers of resentment, misunderstanding, and pain. The therapist's office became a neutral ground where we could voice our fears and frustrations without judgment. Emily spoke of feeling invisible, of craving acknowledgement and affection. I shared my sense of betrayal, the sting of discovering her emotional distance. Through these sessions, we began to understand the intricate dance of our relationship, the steps we'd missed, the rhythms we'd ignored. One evening, after a particularly intense session, we found ourselves walking along the riverbank, the cool breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers. Emily slipped her hand into mine, a tentative gesture that spoke volumes. "Mark," she began, her voice trembling, "I know I've hurt you, and I can't erase the past, but I want to try to make things right." I squeezed her hand gently, the warmth of her touch igniting a flicker of hope. "I want that too, Emily, but it will take time." She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I know. I'm willing to wait." The path to healing was long and fraught with challenges, but for the first time in months, we were walking it together. As the seasons changed, so did we. The walls we'd built began to crumble, replaced by bridges of understanding and compassion. Laughter returned to our home, tentative at first, then growing in strength. We rediscovered the joy of shared experiences, cooking meals together, exploring new places, and simply being present with one another. The scars of our past remained, reminders of the battles we'd fought, but they no longer defined us. Instead, they served as testament to our resilience, our commitment to one another. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Emily leaned her head on my shoulder. "Thank you," she whispered. I turned to her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "For what?" "For giving us another chance." I smiled, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "We both fought for this, and it's worth it." As the stars emerged, casting their gentle glow upon us, I realized that while our journey had been tumultuous, it had led us back to each other. And that was a destination worth every step. The letter arrived in a white envelope with a gold seal. Her lawyer's final response. I read it in the kitchen, the same kitchen where she once kissed me mid-pancake flip, barefoot, laughing, promising that this, the house, the life, would be ours forever. Now, in this same space, I read the final cut. Emily was claiming the house, full ownership, as emotional compensation for the prolonged psychological harm she claimed I caused her. It wasn't even shocking anymore. It was just the last tile falling from a wall already crumbling. I poured coffee and didn't flinch, because by now, I knew who she was. And more importantly, I knew who I wasn't. I spent that afternoon putting together everything. The texts, the emails, the voice recordings, the selfie with her and Brandon, dated the same weekend she'd told her friends I'd isolated her on a manipulative solo getaway. The memo she'd written to herself, practicing lines like, "He's not physically abusive, but I feel unsafe." And then the one I'll never forget. "Once I secure the house, I can step away as the calm one. Quiet. Strong. That will hold better in court." It wasn't just cheating. It wasn't just betrayal. It was strategy. I wasn't a person to her. I was a character in a story where she played the heroine escaping the cruel man. I opened my laptop. For months, I had stayed silent. Let people believe what they wanted. Let her narrative swallow the space between us. But there's a moment, not of rage, but of resolve, where you stop letting the world decide who you are. I recorded a video. Not angry, not defensive, just real. My face, my voice, my truth. I posted it that night. On my personal page. No hashtags. No dramatic title. Just one sentence. Silence isn't guilt. Sometimes it's restraint. And then I left my phone in the drawer and went to bed. By morning, I had 243 missed messages. Not likes. Not comments. Messages. People I hadn't heard from in years. Some apologizing. Some admitting they never knew what to think. Some just saying, "Thank you." Jenna wrote first. I watched it twice. "I feel sick." I believed her. "I'm so sorry." Then Darren. "I told people you shut down." I didn't know. I should have asked you first. Even Ava called. She said only 4 words. "You did it right." And then Emily messaged me. It was 2:14 a.m. "You didn't have to humiliate me." That was all she wrote. I didn't respond. Because I hadn't humiliated her. I hadn't lied. I hadn't dramatized. I hadn't done what she'd done to me. I had simply told the truth. And that, to her, was unforgivable. A few days later, I saw her for the last time. It was in mediation. Cold room. Paper cups. Beige walls. She was calm. Still polished. But she didn't meet my eyes. Her lawyer opened with a new tone. "We're now open to joint division of the property." Because public image mattered more to her than court victory. She had lost the crowd. And for someone like her, that was worse than losing the case. We finalized everything 2 weeks later. The house stayed with me. She walked away with her half of the equity and the car she wanted. No alimony. No silence clause. And no more pretending. I didn't celebrate. You don't celebrate surviving. You just start breathing again. The first few days were quiet. Like the house was holding its breath. I opened windows. Washed sheets. Removed the photos from the hallway. But I didn't throw them away. Not out of nostalgia. Out of acknowledgement. That yes, this happened. And no, I won't erase it. Months passed. The air changed. The house didn't feel haunted anymore. It didn't echo with what could have been. It just existed. Like I did. People still asked me what happened. Some gently. Some with that sideways look, half pity, half curiosity. I gave them all the same answer. It ended the way it had to. Because it did. Because when you build something on a lie, eventually the structure gives. And sometimes, you let it fall. One day, I found an old letter tucked in the back of a drawer. Her handwriting. A note from the early days. It read, "No matter what happens, promise me you won't forget this. Us. This house. This love." I stood there for a while, holding the paper. Then I folded it gently. Put it back. Because I wouldn't forget. But I also wouldn't go back. I still live here. I drink coffee on the porch. I read more. Talk less. Murphy's older now. Sleeps more than he plays. Sometimes I see someone post another polished, pastel-filtered quote about healing and growth. Sometimes I think of her. But I don't feel angry anymore. Or broken. Just whole. Because in the end, I didn't lose the house. I reclaimed it. Brick by brick. Alone. But standing.